Most of you know enough Greek, basic Greek words, to know that the word for fear, the usual word for fear, is the Greek word phobia. But there's another Greek word, sometimes being translated as fear, fearful. And you'll find that word, if you'll turn first to Matthew 8, in the familiar passage when in verse 23 it says, "And he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him, and behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves. But he was asleep, and his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he said unto them, Why are ye fearful?" And that word is not phobos or phobia. That is from a word in the Greek. If I can find, I've got a dictionary sitting on my lap here. From the word delos, or delos, which is cowardly, timidly, lacking confidence. And if you read it in the 26th translation, one of the translators translates it, "Why are you such cowards?" Now, I'm not saying that we as Christians should be stoic and we should forge forward, and there are certain things that are natural. The natural man will, and you fill in the blanks. But the spirit person, and we have this as an example, storms of the sea, the tempest of the sea, or the storms of your life. I really believe that we read this passage and we do not necessarily see the real response of Jesus. King James translators, "Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith?" But rather, I agree with this translator who says, "Why are you such cowards?" I agree with that. If you've walked with the Lord, and these people will walk with the Lord in the flesh, hello. But if you've walked with the Lord any amount of time, you who say you are faithing and believing, at some point there's got to come some switch in your brain that says, God does hate cowards. Now, I'm not saying you'll never be afraid, but God is not the author of confusion or fear. I was reading somebody else's message that said they're so full of doubt these last few weeks, it's been hard for them to function. Doubt sometimes, believe it or not, is a good thing if it produces more faith. But doubt can also be devastating if you're listening to the voice of the one who is persuading you to go the other way. Then fear, real phobia, overtakes and cowardice kicks in, and the impossibility to function in pistis. When he says, "Oh, ye of little faith," it's a compound. I think it's an oligon word, compound for small faith or little faith. Oligopistoi. Now, this is not just to say this for what I'm talking about now, but anything we're facing. Whether it's attacks on our soil, our freedom, whatever enemy is coming at us. We don't have what the disciples had in the understanding. They may have been with the Lord, but they didn't have the whole tapestry that we have to take from, to have a more certain confidence. You know, when fear comes, I'll tell you what the first things that, what if? And we often laugh because we talk about Gideon and the vocabulary of doubt. That's the first thing that happens. You begin to question every single thing around you. And what if this? And you ever meet people like that? They're, what happens if this happens? And what happens if that happens? Sometimes I feel like that, remember that big rooster, the cartoon? I feel like telling some of those people around me, shut up. Because at some point, I don't know why you call yourself a Christian if you can't say, Lord, I'm scared, but you're with me, so I'm not going to be anymore. Doubt comes in, and you know it's doubt. Begin to pray. Just like these records we have. Lord, help mine unbelief. Help my wavering. Help me to get stable because you are my anchor. Therefore, this is what drives me absolutely batty is we say, Christ, the anchor of our soul. Well, what are you hanging on to then? Doesn't mean you're not going to be moving around while you're attached to the anchor. You'll move a little bit. But if you're anchored, you're anchored. I'm not saying once saved, always saved. Don't get confused what I'm saying. I'm talking about those people who have said, this is the anchor of my soul. You may move around a little bit with the wind, and some of the pressure may move you around a little bit, but you're anchored there. You got to think of that when fear and doubt begin to set in.